What's up, Saturday? Welcome on into Let's Bet It. Lauren Jabari here with Jared Smith. Jared, what time is it over there, and what time did you set your alarm for this morning?
No comment, but we got the Penn State shirt. It's college football week. Penn State doesn't play today, so it's not like I'm going to be rooting for them in any capacity.
Yeah, it's
we'll wait till next Thursday for that. But it's still an exciting college. I'm showing my school spirit, as Kanye West would say.
It is week 0 of college football, and we are so excited. I'm so pumped for the week 1 starting next week. Michigan kicking off the season, Penn State kicking off the season, Notre Dame kicking off the season. Our 3 teams.
All your teams, all 17 of them.
Yes, I'm so excited for week 0 of college football. I feel good this morning. I got a workout in at 8 a.m. Blew dry the sweat into my hair. So, yes, it looks decent. But Yummy. I know, isn't that gross? And then just as this countdown was happening, I'd made myself a cup of coffee and just burnt the crap out of my tongue. So that's how this morning is going.
That's why you drink iced coffee in the morning. Iced coffee 24/7, 365, Lauren. I never burn my tongue on iced coffee.
That's true. It's weird to have iced coffee during the winter, though, because it's cold. So I don't know. Maybe we'll take a poll on that a little bit later.
I don't know. Listen, I see both sides to the winter iced coffee argument, but I think it's just habit at that point. I don't know. That's a good poll. I'd be curious what your following thinks of that. I would be interested in that.
And to be honest, I'm drinking hot coffee right now, and it's hot outside. It's the summer, so I guess you could make the same argument.
Exactly.
But I digress. We have a lot to get to today because it's week 0 of college football. We're going to have Tim Murray on from VSiN in a little bit to talk more about it. He's the host of the new VSiN College Football podcast, so he knows a lot about a lot when it comes to CFB. And then we also obviously have our Better Up segment, betting better in Major League Baseball. I cannot even wait. Okay, so let's get into Better Up, MLB. Lots of games on the slate today. Let's start it out, Jared, with the one and only is the trend, your friend. There was only 3 trends on there today that I liked that I'm going to give to you. And one of them, right here in Atlanta, well, at least with one of the Atlanta teams, it's actually in Busch Stadium. But Braves, run line. The Braves are 7-0 on the run line in their last 7 at Busch Stadium.
Braves 7-0 on the run line in their last 7 at Busch. Well, if you recall, yesterday, remember I thought, that Braves line looks really fishy. They've been playing the Cardinals have been playing really well. Why are the Cardinals a home underdog to the Braves? And guess what happened? The fish got caught. Not literally, but it was clearly one of those games where you had to avoid the trap of the Cardinals as a home underdog. Today, I want to say the Cardinals are favored in this game, right? Because Montgomery's been fantastic for St. Louis. So bit of a different vibe today with Montgomery, although I am seeing some line movement to Atlanta. And actually that line kind of flipped overnight where Montgomery and the Cardinals did open as a favorite. Now it's closer to a pick'em. Listen, Jordan Montgomery with the Cardinals has been like a vibe. 4-0, incredible stuff. The Yankees are fools for trading him for an injured outfielder. Meanwhile, Charlie Morton, Montgomery's numbers against the Braves aren't that good. Charlie Morton's numbers against the Cardinals aren't that great either. I would trust the line movement here, and the sharps like the Braves in the overnight market. So I'm gonna go with this trend, LJ.
We have a
Braves run
friend,
line.
baby.
Let's do it.
Join the party. Let's go. What
Woo!
about this one? The Royals. The Padres are 0-7 in their last 7 following a win. So Royals money line.
Ooh. Yeah, that was an interesting one last night. Our
Yeah.
buddy Chris Bubich ruined our walk this way parlay. He had 1 walk in the first inning, and we couldn't get a second walk for the rest of the game. Bubich.
What a jerk.
Boob.
What a jerk.
Yeah, what a boob. Okay, let's go. Let's go to today's game. Darvish, Lynch.
Yeah, you
Daniel
Darvish.
Lynch, you Darvish. Padres 0-7. You know, Darvish has very limited exposure here to the Royals lineup. Lynch has never faced this Padres lineup. I'm fading the Padres. The Padres are a fade to me down the stretch without Tatis, knowing that they're probably going to miss out on a chance to win the division. I think they're hovering in the wild card race. Let's let the odds movement be the final say here. So San Diego, Kansas City, this open minus 225. Not really much movement. So I will back your trend. I'll say the Royals get the win tonight. Home dog, Kansas City. Forever blue, right? That's their saying in Kansas City. Forever blue.
I don't
Go
think
Royals.
so. Is that they're saying?
Whatever.
I don't know. I honestly don't know. I'm not a big Royals fan. Although I have been to a game at that stadium. Nothing to write home about, but it is iconic, I guess. It's right next to Arrowhead.
The fountains are nice.
Yeah, the fountains are nice, but I've also been to 21 stadiums across the United States of America, and so I would not put it up there in my top 5. You know what I mean?
What is your top 5? What's your number 1 stadium you've been to in your entire life?
Oh,
you've been to a lot.
It's
a tough one, right?
I mean, I feel like Wrigley and Fenway. You have to say those two.
Those are classic.
I've
never been
classic,
to Wrigley.
Iconic.
Fenway, I've been to.
Yeah, you have to make your way up to Wrigley. It's really nice.
I agree.
Petco Park in San Diego.
I love Petco.
Sushi bar.
The Gaslight, the gas place, the Gaslight place in San Diego, that little street there, beautiful. Love San Diego. Gorgeous.
Yeah, it's great. Honestly, I just went to Dodger Stadium, and it's
spicy.
Mm-hmm. And so that was kind of fun when they played the Padres, and they absolutely crushed the Padres in that series. But it's fine. So yeah, I would say obviously Wrigley and Fenway are up there as my top 2, and then I have to say the old Tiger Stadium because that's like what I grew up on.
Oh God,
Comerica, but the old Tiger Stadium. I was at one of the last. My dad can vouch for this. I was at one of the last baseball games at the old Tiger Stadium, and I saved my Starburst wrappers, thinking that one day I could sell them and they'd be like money.
You're crazy.
Because I thought it would be
I would have taken a scoop of dirt. I would have ran up to the railing, and I would have reached over the railing and grabbed a scoop of dirt from the cutout before you get to the field. That's what I would have done.
So I didn't do that.
Just walked in, put it in my pocket, and just walked out with it.
And then now I think about it, I'm like, how would anybody know that those Starburst wrappers?
Listen. How old were you? 5?
I probably have it in a memory box somewhere still at my parents' house. Dad, double check on that for me, and I'll get back to you guys next week on Monday when we have a show.
Actually, from a vending machine somewhere in suburban Detroit, and your dad didn't tell you.
They could be from anywhere. My little 9-year-old self.
Oh, Lauren.
It was a steal.
Baby Jabara.
Amazing. Okay, I have one more trend for you. The Blue Jays Angels. NRFI. Get out that NRFI sheet because the Angels are 11-0 to the NRFI in their last 11 against the AL East.
NRFI hit yesterday, from what I recall.
Yes, it did. I had this trend yesterday, Jared, and it was 10-0.
Yes, you did.
And now it's 11-0.
I remember yesterday I was a little bit hesitant because of Reed Detmers. By the way, your boy, Mitchie boy, came through for us yesterday. Both of us hit that. You didn't get as good of a number as me, but we both hit. Didn't matter. Number didn't matter. We both hit with Mitch White.
Number didn't matter when you both hit, baby.
Woo! Shohei to show day. It's Shohei day. Alek Manoah.
This game was interesting to me.
Mm-hmm. The reason why this game was interesting to me, and I'll get to your NRFI in a minute. The Blue Jays got absolutely murdered yesterday, and they are in the playoff race. The Angels obviously are not. I took a hard look at betting the Blue Jays today with Alek Manoah on the hill. But this NRFI is popping on my sheet, especially if you can beat minus 140 odds, which is what probably the worst odds you're going to find because they're at DraftKings. And they have really bad splits on these bets. So if you can beat minus 140, let's say you can get a minus 130 or even, God willing, a minus 120, I would absolutely bet the NRFI in this game because Shohei and Manoah have been really good NRFI pitchers this year.
Good.
And it's a day game, which is even better. So you got yourself another friend. You got 3 friends this morning, Jabara. Look at that.
We're having a party on us. I mean, it is the weekend. It's the freaking weekend. So I'm really excited about that. Also, YRFI's, NRFI's, the NRFI's no runs first inning went 9-6 yesterday. I know both of us have a NRFI for our best bets of the day, and both of us are looking at a California team. California team, because we don't have a walk this way parlay today, so I just felt like I had to sing at some point of the show, right? I don't know.
Yeah, you were right about one thing. I'm gonna do another parlay at some point because I can't end on a loser, and we lost last night. But I'm gonna slow play it. I like your idea of 1 per week. I think that's a fair, healthy compromise.
Yeah, totally. And honestly, it gives me a chance to sing. And you can't end on a walk this way parlay where Boobich is an absolute boob. So you know what? You got to move. I know. Honestly, he would be on the Jabara's jabroni list for me at that point.
He would be.
But I do have a strikeout prop of a guy that I don't think is going to end up being a jabroni today. It's Merrill Kelly, and I have over 4.5 strikeouts at minus 138. This guy is a 2.49 ERA on the road this year, and he hasn't given up more than 3 runs in a game since June 24th. He's been extremely consistent, especially since the All-Star break. He's posted at least 5 strikeouts in every single start that he's had, Jared, since the All-Star break. That's really good. So I know the White Sox aren't, necessarily a huge strikeout team. They're actually towards the top of the list in best in not whiffing on the ball. They're averaging 7.75 strikeouts per game on the season, and over their last 3 games, only averaging 6.33 strikeouts per game. But the number set at 4.5 is low enough for me. And I know yesterday, a lot of my strikeout props, I bet on fading the other team rather than betting on the pitcher. Today, I'm betting on the consistency of a guy like Merrill Kelly. I love how solid he's been. I'm not fading the White Sox. I'm betting on Merrill Kelly. So Kelly, over 4.5 strikeouts at minus 138. How do you feel about it? Good?
I love it. Here's why. So
let's hear it.
I'm looking at his track record this year, and you know how I do the hit rates compared to what the odds should be. 68% hit rates, the equivalent of minus 213 odds on Kelly's 4.5 number this year. So at minus 138, you're getting a big value boost there with what his odds should be based off of his season-long hit rate. So full endorse, full send for Merrill Kelly today.
Absolute full send. You know what? I love when you get all mathy on me like that because that's not how my brain thinks. And then you get in, you hold the 1, subtract the 4, and divide it by 6, and then multiply it, put it in parentheses, and put it in a factorial.
Stop being a boob.
Me? Is that me? But speaking of NRFIs and YRFIs, I know both of us have a NRFI for our play of the day, but make sure that you check out the Pickswise.com website. Caleb Wolfinger has 2 NRFIs today. The Angels taking on Toronto, Dodgers taking on Miami, and actually that kind of pairs well with my best bet of the day. So
and your trend. Caleb must have read your trends today. He must have. Caleb, get out of
only if Jacob shared them. Only if Jacob shared them with him because it's sneaky. It's sneaky, and I send them through text. Secret.
I actually think I found where they are, but I don't know for sure. I'm still doing like my opposition investigative research on it. I think I might have found them though. I think might have found them.
You think?
I might have. I might. There's like a 75% chance I found where the trends are.
Okay. We'll see. We'll see at the end of the year.
Your reaction to me saying that tells me it's more like 85 or 90%.
You think?
Maybe.
No chance.
I don't know. Maybe.
Gerard, get out of here with that. Get out of. Honestly, I keep keep my trends a secret. But something I don't keep a secret is my love for college football. Week 0 is upon
Let's
us.
go.
And I know we're going to have Tim Murray on in a second. Oh, he's already ready. Let's bring in VSiN host Tim Murray.
Of course he's
host
ready.
Of the new
Dude was
VSiN
born ready.
College Football Podcast. Because next week is going to be filled with nothing but college football. This weekend, we have a few games to just wet the whistle a little bit. Tim, how the heck are you? Happy Saturday. Week 0 is upon us. How pumped are you right now?
Tremendous, guys. I'm also a little upset that I've lived here for 2 years and my background looks like this, and Jared's been in Vegas for like a minute and he's already got a quality background. So, So small losses in life. It happens. I still have my, my World Series champions Nationals beer here.
I love that.
Don't drink that. It's been a while.
No, I've had it. Yeah, I traded this for somebody, but this is all Nationals fans have now is a old beer.
I love it.
Can that guy
gave up 7 runs yesterday. So.
Tim, I will say, I see a possible Notre Dame logo in your background.
Oh, yeah, you guys have the Irish synergy.
Fan? Are you Notre Dame fan?
Lauren, I'll tell you.
Notre Dame fan I know, Lauren, bigger than you.
A little story here for you. So we have the banner over the shoulder. That would be the last national championships, which is a little barren since 1988, which is a sad statement. But also the picture on top of that, I think you'll get a kick out of because that was from September 5th, 1998, a game your boy was in attendance when the reigning national champion Michigan Wolverines got smoked by Notre Dame. 36-20. And Thomas Brady is the starting quarterback for the Michigan Wolverines in that picture.
The good old
Thomas Brady. That's quite the story.
So honestly, Tim, I've had an internal conflict since 2011. So my dad and both my brothers went to Notre Dame. I got waitlisted there. I was not smart enough apparently to get in. And I ended up going to a good old University of Michigan, the University of Michigan. And my freshman year was the first game at the Big House under the lights against none other than Notre Dame. And I did not sit in the Michigan student section. I sat with my parents in the little Notre Dame section that they had set off to the side. And that was the game that Michigan came back and ran for a touchdown in like the last minute of the game. The student section was like so excited. And I was sitting there all pissed off in the Notre Dame section wearing my Michigan gear because I felt like I had to. It was honestly an ultimate low point in my life. But for a Notre Dame fan like you had to have probably really appreciated that moment.
Yeah, I know exactly where I was, sitting in my apartment in Baltimore, watching that game, wanted to rip my hair out. So yes, hopefully, we could get that rivalry back. It's funny. The last time Notre Dame and Michigan played actually was a Saturday evening in late October, which is odd because they usually play in early September, but because of just scheduling situations and in the rain, Michigan absolutely massacred Notre Dame. And I had a 2 TV setup that night watching Notre Dame get obliterated and watching the Nationals, I think, lose by 9 runs in the World Series. So that was fun.
That's a devastating day.
And the best part was I was at a Halloween party at someone else's house, so I had to take over their basement because I had to watch those 2 particular games. Those are the types of things you have to do, when you marry me. You can get convinced to I will go to events, but I will sit in basements and watch sporting events. But
I will also.
I have heard inside information that you get very heated during Notre Dame games.
That wasn't a good night. No, that was a bad night.
Yeah, Tim, I'm going to get your number. We're going to be texting back and forth during these Notre Dame games. I'm really excited. And speaking of a team that I'm excited to watch them and what Marcus Freeman's going to be able to do under the helm for that team. What do you think of their win total this year? And are you kind of leaning the over or the under at this point?
Yeah, Laura, it's a good question. I last year it was 8.5, and obviously they won 11 games. Now you could say that they were a bit fortunate, especially early on. You look at the Toledo game, you look at A game like Wisconsin, where they were actually trailing going into the fourth quarter, and the score wasn't necessarily indicative of a 41-13 win, the win at Virginia Tech. This year the schedule is really challenging. I know that there are Marshall and California and UNLV on there, but when you look at Ohio State, I'm pretty realistic. That's going to be ugly.
Nervous.
So I chalked that up as a loss. And then, the question I have, Lauren and Jared, is, Marcus Freeman. I'm excited about the Freeman era. He's brought in a sense of enthusiasm to the fan base. He's recruiting incredibly well. But the thing that Brian Kelly did, the thing that Brian Kelly did so well was win games that he was supposed to win, or not lose games he was supposed to win. Because the stat that is so staggering to me is they didn't lose a game as a betting favorite, since Stanford in 2017.
Wow.
So when you think about this year, they will be an underdog to Ohio State. Some of the look-ahead lines, they're either a pick, maybe a slight underdog against Clemson at home. Who knows how USC plays out? That could be a situation where they're a dog or a slight favorite. And then the BYU game here in Vegas. So those are 4 toss-up games, and you're looking at, a win total of sorry about that. Win total of 9 or 8.
Excited about Notre Dame.
Yeah, getting real excited here. 9 or 8.5. So that right there, in my opinion, would keep me to pass. And then you throw in games like at UNC on September 24th, when North Carolina is coming off a bye. You throw in a game like, on the road at Syracuse could be weird. They're a team that could really run the ball well, and Notre Dame will have just played BYU in Vegas and Syracuse under the lights at Notre Dame Stadium. So that's kind of trappy type of situation. I don't think Boston College, I'm actually lower on them than most. So I don't really think November 19th against Boston College is going to be that tricky of a spot. But I do look at like 4 or 5 games that are toss-ups. So I'll be honest, if the market is 9, which you could still find some 9s, in my opinion, guys, I think this team is more of an 8-4 team than a 10-2 team, if that makes sense. So if forced to play, I would look under. Because it's not just the schedule too, right? You've got a quarterback in Tyler Buckner who hasn't started a game yet, high 4-star recruit, but is he going to live up to that? We don't know. You've got really big questions at the skill positions, especially wide receiver. You only have about 6 or 7 scholarship wide receivers, and Avery Davis, a 6th-year captain, is out for the year with a torn ACL. You do have Michael Mayer, who's an All-American at tight end. Early injury concerns with Jared Patterson, their All-American offensive lineman. He's in a walking boot right now. Is he going to play against Ohio State? The defense should be solid, but you look at the secondary. I have some questions at the cornerback position. The safety position should be strong. You bring in Brandon Joseph, All-American from Northwestern, in the transfer portal. You do have, a lot of depth back there at the safety position. So, look, the defense could be good. Al Golden, I like the hire as the defensive coordinator coming, from the Cincinnati Bengals, and obviously a head coach at Miami and Temple. So, look, I think Notre Dame is going to be a quality team. Might be a little bit of a learning curve, though, for Marcus Freeman in his first year. So, a long-winded answer to a question. I would lean under 9 on Notre Dame, just because there's a lot of toss-ups, and you got a first-year head coach, so there is going to be a little bit of a learning curve.
Yeah, I mean, if there's going to be anyone to go long-winded on the Irish, I would say, besides Lauren, I
love
choose
it.
You. So,
as we take a sip of our coffee.
Take your sip your tea, sip your coffee. If you can find even 8.5 based on your handicap, getting plus money there seems like you're going to be in the mix for most of the season. Speaking of the season, so we do get college football today. I'll be honest, and we talked about this last night. It's not the sexiest week 0 card. There's not a matchup really out there that's like, yep, I gotta bet this game. I gotta be involved here. The best game on the board, I use that term lightly. Northwestern Nebraska. It starts in a couple of hours, and we talked about this line last night because it's been a roller coaster all week long. Got to 14 at one point. It ain't at 14 anymore. And you're starting to see that money come in a couple of days ago on Northwestern, push that line back down. Do you see any edge here now that we've seen this line kind of do a loop-de-loop over the last week or so? or is this kind of a stay away with Nebraska? We don't know what we're going to see with Scott Frost's bunch this year. We're expecting some positive regression, but we really don't know because they lost a quarterback. They lost a bunch of other players. And Northwestern obviously is a really tough team to handicap year to year.
Yeah, I think you kind of answered the question there for me, Jared, which is nice. I'll just say
anytime, bud. No, take a break. Take a nap.
I took a little bit of a flyer on Northwestern to win the Big Ten West. So I found that you can find that still around plus 360, I think, at DraftKings. And let me put this clear. I'm not in love with Nebraska, but I do think this is an intriguing look for a team that the schedule sets up well with Wisconsin the second to last week at home, and then you go to Iowa, the final game of the regular season. So if you do hold that ticket for a long time, and you get to decide what do you want to do there, if you want to hedge off as a, probably a very short dog or maybe even a slight favorite against Wisconsin. And then obviously the game at Iowa. They do play Michigan in a crossover game. They avoid Ohio State, which Wisconsin does not. So that's something to keep an eye on. Look, we look back at last year, and not to say that, everything that last year is going to come to fruition this year, but Nebraska was not prepared for this week last year. And maybe that's a good thing for the Corn this year. They will be prepared. I do like the fact that they went out and they got Mark Whipple from Pitt. He will come in and he'll take over that offense. Casey Thompson, in my opinion, is an upgrade at the quarterback position, taking over for the mayor of Lincoln, Adrian Martinez, who is still playing college football, which is amazing.
Still kicking.
And then, they shored up their special teams, which were a massive issue last year. So, I think, 11 is probably fair. I know some people, when they could catch a touchdown in the first half, like the Fighting Fitzes there. The thing about Northwestern is they are a bit void of talent. I would agree with that. They do have a first round pick on their offensive line. Helinski is their starting quarterback. He's solid. I still believe in Pat Fitzgerald's a good coach. I think he's going to have a quality game plan ready to go. So laying double digits in these opening week games, personally, just not something I'm racing to do, especially this game's in Ireland. How are these guys going to be, prepared for? There's just a lot of unknowns.
Field conditions, weather, all of those things.
It's a lot.
Very tough.
And here's the thing, guys. I was in Ireland. I don't know if that's an Irish accent. I was in Ireland about a month and a half ago. That was horrible. This is the worst.
That's an Irish accent
I'm so excited.
Keep it going, please, Lauren. Keep it going.
Next year, my whole family's actually going to that, so I'm going to be making my way across the pond next year for the Notre Dame game.
What? That is a British accent.
That's a mix of British and I don't even know what that is. So I'm so sorry. Whatever just came out of my mouth, guys. I might sound like a crazy person. I am betting the under on the first game of the college football
under
season.
Sweats right out of the gate, Jabara.
Who am I? Betting the under in the first game. Only one time in the last three matchups between these two teams have they combined for 50-plus points. And the under is also 36, 21, and 1 in neutral site games over the last 5 years. I know Nebraska, you talked about it, Tim, made a ton of changes on the offensive side of the ball. They're going to probably be on maybe more of a limited playbook for the first game of the season, right? Just guys getting more comfortable in the system. And then Northwestern's defense is also going to probably be better than last season. And even if they aren't, and Nebraska's offense is hot, we can count on the fact that Northwestern's offense isn't going to do too much damage either. So I look at 51.5. It's a decently high number. I really like the under of the season. I'm going to have the under Sweats. Similar to the meat sweats, Tim, we talk about it all the time. I'm going to have the under sweats for this game, but first college football game of the season coming out red hot with Nebraska Northwestern under across the pond. Why not?
Well, I'll say this, Lauren. I mean, I'm going to rain on your parade a little bit because actually the first college football game of the season is taking place in Western Kentucky because how can you forget about the Austin Peay Governors and the Hilltoppers of Western Kentucky? And I don't know, man. My boy Zach Kitley who led that offense.
There's no Bailey Zappi.
Is now at Texas Tech. Of course, the one and only Bailey Zappi is a New England Patriot now. So, that's going to be a tough one to watch there, Lauren, without my boys down there in Western Kentucky. But no, to your point, all kidding aside, I can't deny, I can't knock it. Northwestern had their issues offensively, and another game. I think there's a couple games you look at some unders, and you're on the right side of the money. Certainly seems that way. The number has moved down in that game. The number has moved down in Wyoming, Illinois. The number has moved down in Yukon, Utah State. So you look at a lot of these games, the majority of them, maybe outside of Charlotte and Florida Atlantic, have all moved down. Nevada and New Mexico State has moved, I think, a touchdown down. So a lot of these games, Lauren, that the money that moves numbers is pushing these things down. So not really going to disagree with you on the total there for Nebraska and Northwestern.
Moving numbers and moving mountains, Jared.
Like, honestly, like that, because you're right. And early in the season, you would think that's where a lot of the recreational money wants to bet overs until we start to see results happen. But you're right. We have seen a lot of these. I'm looking at the board right now. North Texas UTEP dropped 3 points. Wyoming, Illinois, our new college football lead analyst, Mark Zinno, likes the under there. That dropped 3 points. Vanderbilt, Hawaii dropped by a couple of points. Like, what? The only game that I see went over, you're right, Charlotte, FAU, that's the only game that's seen any movement to the over. Is there something to that early in the season where the sharp money really, really likes to come in on the under because the numbers are just a little bit soft based on maybe projections from last year?
Yeah, and I think a lot of it, you look at some of these teams, Wyoming lost a ton of talent. And I think Illinois is the type of team that's going to try to grind this game out and just get out of there with a win. And, Bielema is going to run the ball and try to just kind of flex on a team like Wyoming. You look at Nevada, how much talent they lost last year in the portal. So I think that's probably the mindset of a lot of the pro bettors that are moving these numbers. Look, a game out in Hawaii, we don't know what to expect from this Hawaii team.
No idea.
Jimmy Chang takes it
or
over.
Vanderbilt.
Yeah, I mean, Vanderbilt at least brings back some pieces from a team that went 2-10 last year, and I'll be honest, guys. Jump into that game. Such a privilege to have a late night Hawaii get back game in week 0. But that all being said, I don't know how people can be laying these points with Vanderbilt. And look, if you want to have me on next week and make fun of me for when Vanderbilt wins by 40, go ahead. Like. Look, Vanderbilt went 2-10.
Keep your number on speed dial there, bud.
Clark Lee went to SEC Media Days and said that, it's just a matter of time before Vanderbilt is the best team in the country. So good luck there, Clark.
Oh, God.
Stop it.
I'm a Clark Lee believer. He was a good defensive coordinator at Notre Dame. Very good defensive coordinator. But they won 2 games last year, guys, and they beat Colorado State on the road, 24-21, a team that ultimately fired their head coach, Steve Addazio, and they beat UConn by 2, 30-28. They also opened the season losing to FCS East Tennessee State by 20. So I don't know what to expect from Vanderbilt. I'm sure the stability in that program should help them entering year 2. They did lose their defensive coordinator to Michigan, so that's something to keep an eye on. But Clark Lee obviously is a defensive-minded head coach, so that might not be as big of a loss as some may think. But the fact that this line has moved a touchdown and just keeps on moving, I joked. I was talking with Chris Andrews, who's the sportsbook director at the South Point earlier this week, and I said, "Oh man, you guys are going to be set up for a middle." He goes, "You know what, Tim? You can't be middled if no one bets the other side." And I said, "Well, that's a good point." Because right now they're just betting this game as if they know the outcome, guys. I mean, it's just been full steam ahead on the doors, and
wild.
Good luck to you folks laying north of a touchdown on Vanderbilt.
No, I totally agree with you. And because of that, I'm actually leaning Hawaii plus 9.5. I haven't locked it in yet. I have a little bit of time because that game is at like the butt crack of freaking midnight tonight that I probably will be sleeping at that point.
Hawaii
or drinking
time.
Another cup of coffee, Tim. I don't know. But you mentioned it. Vanderbilt, they were 6 points away from going winless last season. I mean, their defense finished higher than only 6 schools. They were one of the worst Power 5 teams last season. And I look at a guy like Mike Wright. Like, he might be a good surprise for them this season, but he's not going to get very much help anywhere else on the field. And then you look at a team like Hawaii. Timmy Chang is their coach after he threw for the second most passing yards in NCAA history. I feel like they're going to kind of play a similar system. They're going to play a faster tempo. They're going to spread the offense. And I don't know if Vanderbilt's going to be able to, like shut them down in a game like this. Again, I still don't know what to expect from Hawaii. But how are people laying the points with Vanderbilt? I have no clue. Moving on to the rest of the season, Tim, is there a team that you see that might be like a good underdog value to possibly get into the college football playoff? Or is it kind of like set in stone? Or is there a team that you want to fade this season? Because for me, one of those teams is Texas. Everyone thinks Quinn Ewers is going to be like this saving grace for that team.
I'll start with the second question first, and it has nothing to do with my allegiance to the team over my shoulder. This USC steam is getting out of control.
Yes.
9.5, co-favorites at some spots to win the Pac-12. Look, guys, I mean, USC was a 4-8 football team last year. And I think Lincoln Riley ultimately is going to dominate Southern California, bring in incredible talent. Now, there's a new wrinkle with them joining the Big Ten, but I think the argument to what I'm saying is that the Pac-12 is soft, which is fair. I mean, it's manageable. They do have to go to Rice-Eccles in October and take on Utah. They do not play
Very
Oregon in a crossover, so that's that works to their advantage. But I look at this team, guys, and the defense is really bad. And, people are overlooking that. And I'll tell you this, if they go out week 1 and they curb stomp Rice, which is probably a likely thing to happen, I just think there's opportunities to come in on the other side. They play a team like Fresno State, who's got Jake Haener. And, I know they lost Kalen DeBoer, but I think Fresno State is going to be really capable. I could argue that they're the best team in the Mountain West. In my opinion, them or Air Force are the two best teams in that conference heading into this year. So, look, I think USC is going to be exciting. They're going to have some opportunities where they're going to score a lot of points. Maybe they run it up in these early games. But, to your point, Lauren, about Texas, and I tend to agree with you, yes, USC got the shiny new toys in the offseason. They got the Caleb Williams. They got the Jordan Addisons. They got the Travis Dyes. They got they got a ton of talent, but they're still void on defense. Their offensive line is still a massive question. And, it still sticks in me. And I've said this a million times on my show, but I'll say it on yours. Look, Bruce Feldman is as piped in as a college football insider as there is. And he knows the LA market so well because he lives out there. And he said on his podcast, I'm paraphrasing, that their lines last year late in the season looked like group of 5 lines. I mean,
wow.
And I just don't know if they're going to be that strong. So you're looking at a win total of 9.5, buzz for them to make the playoff, win the Pac-12. I guess it could happen, but to me, I think there's a game in there where they stub their toe, whether it be, on the road at Oregon State or, whatever it may be. So a team that I'm curious where the market ultimately sets is USC. And, we'll see if there's opportunities to come in on the other side. I wouldn't say week 1 against Rice. Rice is going to be pretty bad. And that might be an opportunity, obviously, to follow USC. They make a statement, and then the market kind of starts to get over over their skis because they win, 52-7 against a bottom feeder in the CUSA.
Yeah, it is going to be really interesting. And you mentioned that about USC's defense. The last time we saw them, they were allowing 60+ points to UCLA. So it's going to be interesting to see what sort of adjustments they make. But Tim, we so appreciate you coming on. Make sure to listen to his new VSiN College Football podcast. Tim Murray, we so appreciate you. Go Irish. Love it.
Yeah. Go Irish week 2, Lauren, because week 1
long time no see, Tim. I'll see you around the old desert stomping grounds.
All right, see you guys.
Bye, Tim. Have a good day.
Good morning, bud.
That was Tim
Appreciate
Murray, VSiN host of the new College Football podcast. Make sure to check that out. Love it. Great insight from Tim, our friend.
Amazing.
Also love that he's a Notre Dame fan. You love to see it.
I can't believe you
Love
didn't
when
know
my
that.
people come together. Yeah, I didn't know
I
that.
thought you knew that. I
No,
thought
I
you knew
didn't.
that.
It was
I
a
should have.
pleasant surprise.
That's on me because Tim and I are friends, and I should have been like, "Hey, my friend Tim,
No,
he's a
but
big Irish fan." That's on me.
honestly, it's a pleasant surprise, Jared, because
Okay,
like I wasn't
I like
expecting
surprising
it,
you
and
pleasantly.
it's like opening like a present on Christmas morning. Oh my gosh, more Notre Dame fans. You love to see it. Okay, we both have
Yay! Yes,
Nerfies for our best bets of the day.
we
But before we
do.
do, Pickswise.com, what's our 3-star play of the day of the day?
So I
3-star
mentioned
play
it a little
of the
bit during Tim's segment. Our pal
Yes.
Mark Zeno, the lead dog, the men amongst boys now in the college football world here at Pickswise, likes the total in the Wyoming-Illinois game. He's leaning towards the
Okay.
under. Actually, it's not really a lean. It's a 30-star bet. And also, Chris Occasion likes a side in this North Texas and UTEP game. So there are 2 college football week 0 3-star plays on the site. Go get them, boys and girls. Have a blast. Enjoy.
Go chase them,
Bet
baby.
responsibly.
Pickswise.com. Check it out. All right. For our best bets of the day, we're hoping for, I usually go hits and runs and hits and runs and hits and runs. We're hoping for no hits, no runs, no hits, no runs, no hits, no runs in the first inning. I'll let you go first with your Nerfy.
Oh, thank you so much, Miss Lauren
Of
Anjabara.
course.
Okay, here we go.
Ladies first. Ladies first, Jared.
Oh, I'll be honest. When it comes to the emotional, person on this show, I'm definitely carrying the banner for you. You're more like a bro than I am. Let's just leave it at
I'm
that.
cold-hearted, baby. Cold-hearted.
Sometimes I don't know, Mr. and Mrs. Jabara. I swear, I think she's a dude. I think she's a dude. I honestly,
Honestly, I think they were sometimes.
bro tendencies. But anyways, we're hoping Sonny Gray and Alex Cobb are bros today because we're going Nerfy Giants Twins. I love the interleague matchups with Nerfies because most of the time these pitchers haven't really faced the other team. A little bit of a different situation for Sonny Gray because he did pitch in the National League for a number of years. But Alex Cobb obviously has been with the Giants pretty much his entire career, and he hasn't really faced the Twins a whole lot. And this Twins lineup, surprisingly, is worse at home in the first inning at 31% than they are on the road at 36%. That's a very good road scoring rate. At home, I would say it's about average. The Giants, doesn't matter where you play it. You could be out in San Francisco. You could play on some boat in the Atlantic Ocean. They're a bad first inning scoring team, hovering between 21 and 22%, both at home and on the road. And I mentioned Sonny Gray, Alex Cobb. I'll give you the number, 33-6 to the Nerfy this season. That means anything to me in the 120 range, minus 120 range, is a very solid bet. I found minus 115 at Caesars, and I feel like this is my Nerfy of the day, Giants Twins. We're on a little bit of I don't want to call it a streak right now, but we're above 500 with our plays of the day since arriving in Vegas. I don't know if it's the desert heat. I don't know if it's the different time zone. Who cares? Just go bet the Giants Twins Nerfy because it's my favorite one on the board today.
And I'm also looking at a California team in the Dodgers, who are taking on the Marlins. My Nerfy's a little bit juicier than yours. It is Saturday. I wanted a little bit of my orange juice to go along with my juicy play of the day. I'm laying 56 cents for it. But Dodgers, Marlins, Nerfy. Dustin May is on the mound for his second start of the season. He does the scoreless first last Saturday, but he did have to work through a little bit of a jam to do it. He walked 2 batters, but that could be him kind of getting back into the swing of things. And those were his only 2 walks over the 5 innings that he did pitch. Now you look at the Marlins. They have Sandy Alcantara on the mound. He's thrown a scoreless first inning in 10 of his 13 starts on the road this season and 20 of his 25 starts overall. He's thrown a Nerfy. I'm running it with Sandy Boy, baby. The Marlins are one of the worst teams in the league when it comes to scoring runs in the first inning. They're scoring only at a 19% rate in the first innings at home, and only 15% of all first innings overall this season. And they've only scored a run in the first inning in 1 of their last 10 games. Now you look at a team like the Dodgers. I know their numbers are a little bit more favorable when it comes to the YRFI. They're one of the best offensive teams in the first inning in Major League Baseball. They score in 37% of their first innings on the road and 40% of their first innings overall. But I love Sandy Alcantara. I love his numbers. I think he should be able to shut them down for at least 1 inning. Obviously, I think the Dodgers are going to win the game. But I feel pretty confident in this Nerfy with Alcantara only allowing, run in the first inning in 20 of his 25 starts this year. So give me the NRFI for the Dodgers. Marlins laying 56 cents for it. A little juice to go with my juice. Why not?
I love it.
That's it.
Actually, if you just looked at the implied NRFI rates on my sheet today, it has the highest implied NRFI rate at over 80%. Dustin May is 16-3 to the NRFI since 2019. That's an 84% hit rate. He is, honestly.
Did you just do that math in your head?
No, it's on my sheet. I'm not that smart. Jeez, you're giving me way too much credit.
Hold the 1, divide it by 4.
Yeah, carry this and boop, boop, boop. What's that TikTok trend where it's like boop, 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 boop. So I think Dustin May is going to have an impact in the postseason for the Dodgers. He is a guy that comes in and just throws gas. He gives me Spencer Strider vibes. Now, obviously, he's a little older. All gas,
no brakes.
All gas, no brakes. You know, he's been in the league for a couple years now, but he gives me those kind of vibes where he comes in the first inning and it is just, boom, I'm coming right at you. So I love this NRFI today. I'm tailing you. I found minus 150. It's juicy, but again, I think it's a good bet. I think it's a good bet.
Thank you. No hits, no runs, no hits, no runs, no hits, no runs for the first inning as we head to the end of our show. We miss you guys. We'll miss you on the show tomorrow, but we'll be back Monday better than ever. Enjoy week 0 of college football. Enjoy some baseball action tonight. That's it for us today. Follow us on the Pickswise YouTube channel. Go to pickswise.com. Follow us on Twitter. Jared Smith, Lauren Jabara. Best of luck tonight, guys. Let's get it. Let's bet it.